Correlation involves the statistical study of two numerical variables to establish whether or not they are related. In other words, does one variable seem to have a connection to the other, either positive or negative? In our first example, we'll look at two sales campaigns. We'll see if the sales from one campaign seem to be correlated to the sales of the other. So if this were our data, you can see that there appears to be some kind of positive correlation, which we can calculate in Excel using the CORREL function and assess whether or not that's a strong positive relationship. Another example we might use as a cost estimator would be to find what we call a cost driver. So say, for example, the Navy is building a ship. We might take the cost and weight data of various ships and plot this information to assess whether or not there's a relationship between cost and weight. And in this example, again, there's a positive correlation. Finally, consider a chicken. Young chickens make a lot of eggs. However, as chickens age, their egg production decreases. So this is an example of negative correlation, where one variable is increasing and it's causing the decrease in the other variable. Excel's CORREL function calculates the linear relationship between two variables using Pearson's correlation. And there's different ways to calculate correlation, but that's the most common. So this will always be a value between -1 and 1, where -1 represents perfect negative correlation and +1 represents perfect positive correlation. A correlation of 0 means there's no relationship between the two variables at all. It's one key point as an analyst to understand is that correlation does not tell you anything about causation. It's up to you as the analyst to understand your data and determine when causation might be occurring. For example, going back to our chicken example, we might run the correlation function on our information and get a result of 0.8. So this tells us there's a strong correlation between a chicken's age and its egg production. But what the number itself, 0.8, doesn't tell us is whether the less a chicken makes eggs, the more it ages, or the more a chicken ages, the less it produces eggs. Now, intuitively, we know the right answer because we know a lot about chickens, but in business, it's not always so clear. The answer might be much more subtle, and we may never fully know why two items are correlated. So if two campaigns do seem to track positively together, that doesn't immediately tell us whether or not A is driving B, B is driving A, or maybe it's a little bit of both.